Well, thank you everybody for joining me today. I recently embarked on my first full-time job here at Impact Makers, and part of my journey as an associate consultant is to just get to know all the areas of the business and really absorb as much as I can. It's just part of the learning process. So with the upcoming Women in Technology Conference, which has a really large turnout here in Richmond, I wanted to sit down with the three of you as some of my favorite female role models in the office. And beyond, to understand where you've come from and how you've gotten there and any advice you would give to a newcomer in the industry. So that's kind of setting the stage for our roundtable today. So I can just jump into the first question. We can go around in any order. So just your name and your role at Impact Makers.
Shannon Yeaker, Governance, Risk and Compliance Advisory Services Lead.
I'm Amaka Nnamani. I'm a data management consultant at Impact Makers.
I am Mary Miller, and I am a senior consultant on the enterprise agility team. Just moved from the governance, risk, and compliance team. Don't shed any tears.
That's great. So anybody can go first. How did you choose a career path in tech? Was it a choice, or how did you kind of end up where you are?
So I'll start. I certainly didn't choose it. It kind of happened over a couple years. So when I got out of school, I'm actually a psychology major. I knew I didn't want to go into psychology, but thought it was a good, well-rounded degree. I had been to nursing school and decided that's not what I wanted to do, but I still wanted to be in healthcare. And my first job out of college, I worked with some great people who knew other people who knew people, and before I know it, I started kind of at the very bottom of a managed services company, and I ended up working my way to starting the consulting arm of that company and jumping right in. It was all, they did managed services for small to mid-size healthcare provider offices, and so it was right in my wheelhouse, and again, kind of just fell in my lap.
Nice.
And for me, starting my career in IT, I wouldn't say I chose it, I'd say it chose me. Growing up in my house, I was always that person that everyone will come to help solve different IT problems. And I realized that the solutions came to me naturally. And as time progressed, I became a lot more interested in looking at case studies of companies that applied IT to solve day-to-day problems, like Uber, for example, where they applied technology on an existing model. And after I got a few degrees in university, I started looking for a career where I would be able to do things that I enjoyed already. And initially I had this naive mindset that IT was all about programming, and I had literally no interest in programming. So after a series of networking, I got introduced to a career path, BA, which is business analysis. And I just fell in love. So since then, I've been doing all sorts of roles in the field, but generally as a BA.
Awesome.
That's that.
So like Mary, I was a psychology major, as well as going to James Madison University, like Mary. First job out of college was in IT, and I instantly fell in love. There is no brain like an IT brain on this earth. And I just love it. Even the cranky IT men, I just really love how their brain works and how they solve problems and work together to drive business value is a key. So I absolutely love IT. We'll never leave again. I love for a short time, we'll never leave again.
That's
and to
awesome.
just add to what Shannon said, IT is one of those things where in every industry, you're able to play a fundamental role. And for me, just being able to be part of that success, I just feel like every day I'm excited to wake up and do what I actually enjoy doing.
That's awesome. Yeah, well then that's great to hear so much love for IT and technology. So speaking more to being a woman and occupying that space within IT, what strategies have the three of you picked up along the way that would be helpful to other aspiring women in terms of achieving more prominent roles in this field?
I'd say don't afraid to put yourself out there. Don't afraid to be the all-female on an all-male team, which has happened almost in every single department I've been in. Because males are pretty good to work with. Really also champion women, because I really try to be in women's organizations and really just support women because they need it,
Yeah.
as well as assuming positive intent.
Sure.
So just navigating in the working world anyway. So just being open, getting out there, being positive, supporting women. That's what I like to do.
Yeah. Great.
And for me, I'd say a lot of what you believe is what you'll see. So a lot of people enter IT as women and they have all this negative mindsets. And if you believe that that's what it is, that's what you'll end up seeing. So I try to be as positive as possible. And two things that have helped me along the way. One, networking. I literally try to say anything to anyone. Like I always engage in the most random combos with men and women because there's a lot to learn from different people. And secondly, finding a mentor and then eventually being a mentor. But for me, mentorship has really helped with my growth because there's so much to learn from someone that's already been in your shoes, and there's even more to learn from someone that's exactly where you'd like to be. So that's really what has helped me in my career path.
Yeah, I think to Shannon's point, I mean, one of the biggest things that I've learned that I didn't have a problem with before, but I think it comes out even more being in a heavily male-dominated field is to, sit at the table, speak up, be confident in what you know and who you are, and don't feel like you have to sit in the back. Keep driving for whatever you want your future to be. And then secondly is just learn from the people around you, learn from your mistakes. I have messed up a lot, and that's what has gotten me here. You usually don't learn a lot from being successful. You learn from trying things and having to try and over. So I just take in, I ask for all the feedback I can get, and I really look to those folks that are either in a position that I want to be in, that I do look up to as some kind of mentor, or I do have, I just see them as a, great value to the company, and I learned everything I know from those that I worked with. And I know one of the reasons I came to Impact Makers in the beginning was because there were so many people so much smarter than I was, and I just felt like it gave me a great opportunity to learn and grow and, get where I wanted to be, because I can't do that on my own. So I need, you need help from those around you.
Love that. That's great. So then in terms of moving now more into talking about this upcoming Women in Technology conference, what are you guys looking forward to? What can you speak to for just experiences you're excited to have?
I'd say probably just listening to the great speakers. Last year, there was someone from Arkell, Patty Titus, who spoke, who was amazing. Applied real life examples to what her everyday life looks like. She's a very tenured professional with a lot of experience and a big brain. So just really looking for interesting women and all the value that they add to the world, basically. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
For me, I'm looking for the wisdom. When I looked at the profiles of all the speakers that'll be attending the conference, all of them are so seasoned, and I feel like there's a lot to learn from them. Particularly, I think they're really interested in breakout sessions. There's one about women that wear capes, and that's one that I'm seriously looking forward to, because you get to actually hear a lot from women that are currently in that position. As you already know, a lot of people in the C-suite are men. So I'm sure they would have faced a lot of turbulence and are probably still facing such. So I think it'll be really great to just hear how they've been able to overcome the different issues along the way.
That's great.
Yeah, I think one is just, again, listening to the speakers. They have a lot of great insight. They've been doing this for a long time, some of them longer than others, and so they have a lot of experience and knowledge on how to not only navigate, the IT world, but navigate life. The thing I've taken away from most of the previous conferences hasn't necessarily been some new great IT thing. It's been how to, live my life a little better, whether that's my personal life or my professional life. So I think listening to them and, hearing how they did things and how they juggled all the pieces that we have to juggle is one of the things that I get most excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. So I feel like a lot of what you guys have been saying draws on a theme of mentorship and learning from other women, and I think that really transitions into just asking about your role models and just, the people that have inspired you personally in your own life. I know that for me, there's a Madeleine Albright quote that has really resonated for years, and it's she said, "There's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women." And I think I see the inverse of that in this office, in the way that women do support each other. And I try to carry that attitude with me in just my interactions with people. And it's, maybe I don't know Madeleine Albright, but it served as kind of a role model for me. So if you three want to share either a quote that similarly inspired you or a personal anecdote, a person that you can think of, I'd love to hear what that is for you.
Sure. The company that I first started working with, kind of my real job, I was kind of itching to move on in the company. And I said, who do I want to work for? What fabulous person, woman specifically, do I want to work for? And her name is Marty Wilson. I saw her last year. She is now at UNOS. And she is just such a positive, can-do person. One of the biggest impacts she had to me is I was in information security and I was working on new technology. My head was spinning. And she was my manager, and I said, Marty, I don't know that I can get this. She said, sure you can, and she walked away. And that's all she needed to say. I immediately had confidence, and it wasn't actually that difficult. I just had a little bit of overwhelm. And that confidence she instilled in me with those very short words still live with me, and that was a very long time ago. So awesome. If she's here at the conference, hi Marty, thank you.
One quote that resonates with me was actually from an impact maker, Brooke Willemstyn. I don't know if you've met him, but when I was with a previous client, one thing that he always said to me was, part of life is what it is, and the other part is what you make of it rather. And that's just something that sticks with me every single day, because oftentimes we find ourselves complaining about, for example, how with women, women don't support each other. It is what it is. And then you focus on what you can do to make it better, which is being the change that you want to see. So you can lead by example. You can also learn to support women instead of just complaining that, women are this or women are that. And in other ways in life, that's just a quote that really, really has added so much value to my life. So shout out to Craig. I appreciate that.
That's great.
I think I've had a lot of mentors throughout my career, and thanks to them, it is, they are why I'm here. I think they've taught me a lot coming out of school and not knowing anything about IT. I had to lean on others to challenge me, to teach me, to really just help push me along. Usually, I don't need a lot of push, but a little bit of support is always helpful, and a good challenge for me is what I need. And I would say so again, there's been and actually they're all men mentors, but they've all just really supported me, and like I said, challenged me and made sure my bar was set very high for myself. And I don't like to lose, so I ensure that I was, jumping over that bar. And then secondly, I read the book Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg a couple years ago, and I think she, obviously I don't know if I agreed with everything in her book, but to my point earlier, I really think it did drive home the fact that you do really just gotta sit at the table. Some of the stuff we do is things that we're doing to ourselves. Some of it we can't change, but things we can change, like speaking up and being confident in what we know and who we are, is going to take us much farther. So if you want that CEO position, or you want to do whatever you want to do, go for it, and don't let anybody tell you no. And keep driving, keep trying, and just make sure you're up there with the rest of them.
Sure. That's great. And I think you touched on this question perhaps, but I want to give everybody a chance to, as I think Mary said, drive home maybe a final piece of advice that you would give to young female professionals to navigate their career choices, this industry in particular, or whatever else, just as they move on into their career.
I'd say be open and never give up. Never give up. You might have to adjust your goals, but never give up.
That's great.
I'd say two things. Be comfortable with what's uncomfortable, and secondly, create your opportunities. Don't expect anything to be handed to you. Anything you want, go out there and get it. That's
Love
it.
that.
Absolutely. And I would say, I mean, I echo what they both said, but again, I think it's, just learn from those around you, take it all in, and figure out what you enjoy doing, because we got to work for a long time. So enjoy it while it's here and make the most of it, and just keep bringing it all in. And when you start getting bored, do something else and find something else that really invigorates you.
That's great.
And to piggyback on that, definitely don't be afraid to take risks. It took me some time to figure out what exactly I wanted to do. And you actually don't ever have to figure out completely. You can just keep trying new things until you find something where when you're waking up at like 7 a.m., you're not frustrated. That's when you know that you're really in the right place.
Yeah.
So just keep going, because I personally believe that it does exist. I don't know how long it's going to take everyone, but you'll find it someday.
Good. Yeah. Well, those are all the questions that we had. Right. All right. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the roundtable. I definitely learned a lot. It's got me excited for the conference. And yeah, thank you so much for coming.